Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Welcome to the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel. Today, my rant on the greatest of all time, greatest this, greatest that, greatest guitar player of all time, greatest country musician of all time, country writer, greatest singer of all time, can't touch her, greatest band of all time, rock band, you can't touch it, you can't criticize the Beatles, you're an idiot. All this stuff that we're getting on YouTube now with all the critics, everybody's got the greatest list. And I have done a couple of what I consider to be the greatest guitar players, for example, or greatest frontmen of rock. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, it's ridiculous to call them the greatest, because what I make very clear in those videos was these are my favorites and why they're my favorites and why I think that they're great, right? And so ranking them, when I went to rank my 20 favorite guitar players, I was like, I have a hard time ranking these guys, right? Because really, who is the greatest? They're our favorites. And so all this whole greatest of all time and this insulting of each other on YouTube, or making these guys that make these definitive declarative statements as if it's dogma that the Beatles are the greatest rock band of all time, don't even try to compare them to anybody else, is ridiculous. Music is a very personal, subjective thing. And it's one of the few things in life, I think, that the subjective element makes it the personal element. And that's why I started this whole series of pivotal artists, pivotal albums that I've done 6 episodes now. And I think that that's more interesting. I want to hear more stories like that from people on YouTube. This goes for the vinyl community as well. This is the greatest pressing. If you don't think this pressing's better than the other one, you're an idiot and your system sucks, right? So we get all this kind of crap. That's ridiculous. I've had people get on my YouTube channel criticizing somebody who said, I like the 2014 Zeppelin remasters by Page. Some other, gets on there. You're an idiot. The originals are way better. You're a fool. Your system's a piece of crap if you think that. And it's like, dude, calm down. Okay. If I take the 2014 remaster and I compare it to the original, like Zeppelin 2, right? I do prefer the original pressing, but the 2014 doesn't bother me. It just sounds different. Someone will be out there, you're an idiot, right? And that's the kind of stuff that's starting to really tick me off, is these people who want to pontificate over music and turn it into a competition. So this is the greatest guitar player. He runs circles around. He's the greatest. This guy's the greatest jazz guitar player ever. It's like, no, there are no greatest. First of all, there are no greatest. It's not like statistics on a football team where you've got the guy that threw the most touchdowns over a career. The only thing you have to measure music by is by record sales. And if you're going to be foolish enough to rank greatest albums by how many they sold, I think that's kind of ridiculous, because there's a lot of crappy albums that sold a lot of records. For example, Nirvana. I can't stand Nirvana. Does that mean that someone else who likes Nirvana should be condemned for liking them? No, I don't care. If you like Nirvana, go knock yourself out. Go buy the latest record pressing, whatever you want. Hey, if that makes you happy, that doesn't affect me at all. I can give you 100 reasons why I hate Nirvana, because I can't stand Kurt Cobain's voice. I don't think he's a good songwriter. The freaking songs are just miserable. Anyway, that's my opinion, right? So I can say, okay, these that's why I don't like this particular band, or why I do like Rory Gallagher. I did the pivotal albums episode on Rory Gallagher and explained why he was one of my favorites, why he affected me so much. To me, those stories are more, those videos are more compelling. When I'm starting to see now these greatest, and there's so many of them, the greatest 10 albums ever made. Who are you to say they're the greatest 10 albums that are ever made? They might be your 10 favorite albums ever made. And hey, I have no problem with that. But when you start ranking things to where they're almost a definitive list, it kind of gets ridiculous. It's one, I could say that the Beatles are one of the most popular bands, one of the most creative. Doesn't mean that I have to be a Beatles fan. There's some people that I know don't like the Beatles. I don't understand why. But anyway, that's their, they like, perhaps they like Elvis better than the Beatles. Completely different types of musicians, completely different types of performers. One being primarily a performer who sung other people's songs, another being a great songwriting team. There's a lot of different things here. And for us to be, for people out there to be making definitive statements like, this is the best ever. You don't disagree with, if you disagree with me, you're an idiot. And this is going around the vinyl community now too, where everybody has to compare pressings. And there's nothing wrong with comparing pressings. I actually like when someone says, hey, these are the 2 albums I have of this 2 pressings, and let me tell you what the differences are and why I like this one, why I prefer this one over this one. Those videos I like. I've getting some of these though where it's like, this new pressing is trash. Anybody who likes it's an idiot. It sounds terrible. Well, it might sound terrible to you. Well, somebody else might like the more bass in it. I was listening to a Heart record the other day, the original pressing, the CD, and the remaster of the reissue of the albums. All 3 of them sounded different. And I was sitting listening to it with a friend, and we were like, well, which one? They all sound different. We both agreed that all 3 of these Heart records, the CD, the original, and the reissue, all sounded different, very, very distinctively different. One had more bass, the vocals cut better, the guitars cut through better, and it became a matter of personal preference. Where somebody that has been listening to one pressing since 1975, and then they get a reissue, like, this sucks. This doesn't sound anything like the original. Well, you know what? Maybe when they mixed it down, they didn't want it to sound like the original. Maybe they wanted to maybe when they first mixed it, maybe when Jimmy Page first did it, he goes back and listens to it now. He's like, I wish I would have done that a little bit different. I wish I would have had more of the drums in there and less, of this or whatever. And you don't have to like it. I'm not saying you have to like it, but what I'm saying is for you to make a definitive statement and just say that anybody that likes that's an idiot. The real idiot's the one calling that guy an idiot, because he might like it because he likes a particular thing that comes through on the record that he didn't hear before, that he appreciates. Where you might be listening to the original pressing saying, well, there's more of this on the vocals. Well, yeah, maybe there is. And there's no reason why you shouldn't like that. But it becomes where this becomes this absolutism regarding music. And so for me, whenever I see the greatest, this GOAT, I hate it. It's like, I'm never going to make another video again that's the greatest of anything, because at the end of the day, there are no greatests. There are favorites, and they're very personal to us because music's a very personal thing. It helps us empathize with other people. It helps us reflect on our own emotions, on how we think about things. It's a very personal thing. And so people get kind of upset about it if you don't like something that they like, right? And really, we should be getting away from that. It's more fun to have a discussion and learn something about the other person that you might not have realized, or maybe you didn't give a consideration to. Someone's like, hey, man, I really like this new pressing of this. And you're like, okay, let me check it out. Or let me see, why do you like that one? I like the vocals cut through better. Well, I like the guitars. They don't come through as much then. And so we all have our reasons on why we like or don't like something, or why they're our favorites, or why we consider them to be great, or why we can't stand them, right? Why I consider Roy Gallagher to be one of my favorites, one of my most influential, why I consider him to be a great player. And, why he can't, there's no greatest. There's always somebody else that's plays better, or that's more musical, or that we just like better, that communicates to us better by their phrasing, their musical phrasing. Kind of like why we like certain people more than other people, right? That's just a natural kind of thing. I like this guy, this person better because I relate to them better, or whatever. I don't like certain characteristics about his personality. It doesn't necessarily mean that person's a bad person either. There's some people that I just don't care for their personality, but I'm not going to say that you shouldn't like them, or that that I just don't communicate well with them. I don't have that kind of relation with them, and that's natural. We can't we're not going to like every kind of music. We're not going to agree with everybody about what album's the greatest or what singer's the greatest. So let's start calling this stuff our favorites and why. And that's why I'm going to continue this series on pivotal artists, pivotal albums, because I can relate to you why these guys had such an influence on me, and why I think they're really cool, why they're really great, or what album is really one of my favorites. And let's try to go in that direction rather than this absolute condemnation of somebody that disagrees with your opinion, because you know what? Your opinion is just that, your opinion. And I don't care if you've been listening to records for 50 years And you're entitled to your opinion, and there's a lot we can learn from each other, and people that have been listening to records for a long time, as I have. I think may have some valid points to point out to people that maybe haven't been listening to records as long. But it doesn't mean I'm the expert. It doesn't mean that I'm the be all end all of records and I know everything there is to know about them, because I'm still learning. Still a lot of things I don't know. And people will point out, and let me go check that out. And let me go check this musician out. Let me go check this record out. Oh, okay, with this pressing. And I do like when people do comparisons and they tell me what the differences are. This is why I prefer this pressing over this pressing, because the bass comes through better. Not, whatever that is. That way I can kind of judge on that and say, okay, I might like this pressing better because of what he said about the vocals coming through better, or being able to hear this better, or what have you. So I think we need to be more of a discussive, more discussion, more fun with music, more fun with interacting with each other on YouTube, and having a cool discourse among all of us that we can learn from each other, and we don't have to necessarily agree with each other. That's a whole nother thing with this whole, and this kind of goes into the whole climate of our culture, the whole political, oh, you disagree with me, you're canceled, this kind of stuff. No, it's like, you need to listen to your fellow man, and have some discourse with them, and at least understand where the person's coming from, even if you don't agree with them, whatever it is. But this is, specific to music. So that's my rant for this video, and there will be more pivotal albums coming your way, episodes, and we got a Jazz Nerds episode coming up on Friday. I'm excited about that. So, all right, we'll talk to you later, and thanks for watching. If you're still watching, please subscribe or give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. So take care, and we'll see you later.